As for the performance of government and societal growth, the development and remarkable performance of the 11th Parliament is indeed a testimony of the President's inspirational leadership and unwavering support towards legislature and judiciary. Your Excellency, we do appreciate you as leaders of the House. Your Excellency, as leaders, we affirm our unwavering support and commitment to the realization of your vision for your beloved country, without fear or favor. We are aware that the call for leadership sometimes comes with the risk of being misunderstood, being criticized, being opposed, accused, sanctioned, or even rejected. But we owe it to our society to stand firm, and the good Lord will always be with us on that. On the right side of history, we shall leave history, and people will remember what we have done for the country at the time we were here. And as our motto says, for God and my country. Covers Psalms 107, verse 28-31. It says, the Lord still is home to whisper, and the waves and the sea were hushed. People were glad, it grew calm, and he guided them. Your Excellency and honorable members, the road to the Uganda we desire may be long and sometimes challenging, but we will be there at one time. We require the consistency, commitment to our national values and aspirations, unity and hard work. Being united alone, work cannot make us what we want. Do not be discouraged by all around and whatever, and actions of detractors and enemies of progress. Your Excellency, during the third session of the 11th Parliament, in pursuit to the vision of a transformed, independent, and people-centered parliament, firmly executed its call guided performance principles of responsiveness, efficiency, and effectiveness. The Parliament significantly reduced the turnaround time of House business through timely consideration of bills, motions, reports, and presidential appointees' approval, among others. In addition, there has been a tremendous improvement in the quality of legislative output. To this end, Parliament held 87 sittings, during which 5 oaths were administered. 5 oaths were administered 5 new members of Parliament. We passed 47 bills, where 23 bills were in furtherance to the government program on RAPEX. We passed 42 resolutions, 62 reports were adopted. And as I said, out of the 47 bills passed in this third session, 23 bills were in furtherance of the government policy on rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure, RAPEX. The 11th Parliament supports the effort of executive in streamlining government operations, enhancing efficiency, and ensuring that the public resources are efficiently and effectively used. In cases where Parliament has dissented on a mismatch between the objective of rationalization and the stated intention of the bill, the House resolved that the bills be withdrawn by the relevant sector ministers to enable further review by Cabinet before they are reintroduced, and that is as per the law. Your Excellency, this is a complementary working relationship that 11th Parliament has inculcated with the arms of government. At the end of the day, efficient and effective responsive service delivery requires intragovernmental coordination and complementary. The 11th Parliament is fully cognizant of this precondition. Your Excellency, in order to ensure adequate financing of government expenditure priorities for financial year 2024-2025, the legislature passed tax and revenue bills pursuant to Article 152(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 8 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015. Your Excellency and honorable members, in furtherance to the rights of members to introduce the private members' bills and pursuant to Article 94(4)(b) of the 1995 Constitution and Rule 121 of the Rules of Procedure, the House granted leave to 5 members to introduce private members' bills, thereby fostering inclusive and participatory governance. In pursuit of effective representation and oversight, members raised and received responses to 195 urgent responses from the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, thank you. The Right Honorable Prime Minister responded to 323 questions from the members' written questions. In addition to that, the House considered 60 ministerial statements and 5 statements from leader of opposition in Parliament. Your Excellency, the 11th Parliament, as a people-centered parliament, receives and considers various concerns from the public to this end. During the third session, the House considered 8 petitions from the public. Furthermore, Your Excellency, Parliamentary Commission successfully organized a validation workshop for a mid-term review strategic plan for fiscal year 2020-2021, 2024-2025 during which workshop, honorable members and parliamentary staff and other stakeholders shared valuable ideas and insights. This reaffirms our commitment to good governance and sustainable development. Your Excellency and members of Parliament, despite the remarkable performance registered during the third session, it was not all rosy. We regrettably lost one sitting legislator and other eminent sons and daughters of this country. Your Excellency, on Thursday, 18 January 2024, this country woke up with the devastating news of the demise of a third Honorable Cecilia Atimogwal and the woman MP, then the woman MP of Dokolo District. She was a legendary legislator, inspirational leader, a mentor, and a stateswoman with unrivaled pedigree. In addition, on 18th November 2023, the country lost Honorable Joyce Mpanga, a trailblazer of women's rights, an eminent educationalist, and a former member of parliament and a minister. She was a key pillar in women democratization process. Your Excellency, on 22nd July, the nation also lost another eminent former legislator, Honorable Hussein Chanjo, the former member of parliament of Makindye West constituency. He was a vote defender of human and people's rights. Still during the same period, the country lost Honorable Henry Chemba Kisada Magumba, a renowned politician, a civil servant, a former minister, and we also lost Dr. Martin Alike, a renowned businessman, a diplomat, and a first dental surgeon in Uganda. Honorable members, may we please rise to observe a minute of silence to honor all those departed and recognition of their enormous contribution to the growth and development of this country, Uganda.
May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Your Excellency, during the third session, the Parliament of Uganda proudly hosted two major conferences. The conference of the speakers and presiding officers of the Commonwealth, that is CISPOC, and the 86th committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Session, that is CPA African Region, where we have the chairman of CPA African Region right here, Right Honorable Lucas. You're most welcome. In addition, Uganda also hosted the 19th summit of the non-aligned movement and a group of 77, G77 plus China, and the third South and South Summit. Your Excellency, I want to take this opportunity to formally congratulate you upon achieving the chairmanship of NAM and G77. Congratulations. And this is up to 2027. Just a reminder that the leadership is up to 2027. On behalf of legislature, we express our utmost faith and delight that your tenure as a chair will witness as the remarkable strikes in cementing the cooperation among members of NAM and G77 plus China. Relatedly, Your Excellency, the Parliament of Uganda continues to play a crucial leadership role in various interparliamentary bodies through which our national interests are ably articulated. The Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, who was previously chaired the Standing Committee of the Conference of the Speakers and Presiding Officers of the Commonwealth up to 2024, currently deputized by India. In addition, CISPOC, a position which will be held in 2027. Just a correction here that the Speaker of Uganda is the chairperson of CISPOC, and the Deputy Speaker is the first vice chairperson of CISPOC, and this also goes up to 2027. Your Excellency, that is a sign that we are still there. Your Excellency and honorable members, this conference was significant in enhancing the global stature of Uganda among international community of the nations in as far as international cooperation and collaboration is concerned. The conference underscored the imperative of coexistence and respect for values, cultures, and traditions of other states. It is also reaffirmed that while differences in perspectives are inevitable, they should always be approached within a framework of friendship, cooperation, coexistence, and mutual understanding. Your Excellency, Uganda's position in this important conference was not just as a host, but also a guide, a mediator, a friend to all nations represented. Our efforts in organizing such meaningful and successful conferences were not in vain, as they had a significant multiplier effect on the local economy and left a lasting impression on the hearts and minds of all the participants, Uganda being the Pearl of Africa. Your Excellency, we thank you for gracing the conference and sharing the words of wisdom with all the speakers and the delegates that came to Uganda. We want to thank you so much. We do not take this for granted. Your invaluable support was very instrumental in ensuring the success of all these conferences. We do not take that still for granted. The financials all came from you, and we can not thank you any more than that. Your Excellency, as we embark on the fourth session, we will continue to count on you, on your inspirational and guidance, which at the same time is bettering our own efficiency, effectiveness, and responsiveness of legislature. I love the saying that you always say, these are young people, they are all learning. And indeed, we are all learning. Pursuant to Article 94.4 of the Constitution of Uganda and Rule 25.1 of the Rules of Procedure, priority will be accorded to government business. This will require timely introduction of government business for parliamentary conditions. by the Prime Minister. Your Excellency, the Parliament of Uganda is a people-centered legislature. This implies that the common Ugandan is at the center of the parliamentary processes and decisions. In furtherance to this, therefore, and in furtherance to Article 95(2) of the Constitution of Uganda and Rule 17(1) of Rules of Procedure, during the fourth session, Parliament will hold regional outreach sittings that will cover 4 traditional regions in Uganda, that is North, East, West, and Central. Your Excellency, we take this opportunity first to thank you for accepting Parliament to have those regional sittings, and we also want to take this opportunity to invite you to grace the first sitting that will be held in Gulu. The inaugural outreach sitting will be on 29th to 30th August 2024 at Kaunda Grounds in Gulu City, Northern Uganda. And that's where we are requesting that you come and open the session in Gulu. I take this singular honor to sincerely invite you for and on behalf of Parliament and the people of Northern Uganda. We will have a sitting there so that we can be able to address the House on various matters of public importance, especially affecting that particular region. Honorable members, allow me in a special way to appreciate His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda and the First Lady, Mama Janet Museveni, who is also a Minister of Education and Sports, for the enormous support they have given to sports. We want to thank you so, so much. This support is demonstrated in various ways. For the first time, our national team, Uganda Cranes, is going to play in Nambole tomorrow. And that is out of all the support that you have given to Nambole National Stadium. And we also want to thank you, Your Excellency, for ensuring that this year we were able to win the hosting of AFCON. Uganda will be hosting AFCON and providing money for all the infrastructural development that is required by AFCON. I want to invite all of you to go and support our national team, Uganda Cranes, that will be playing tomorrow. And the chief guests have been informed by the State Minister of Sports that the chief guest will be my brother, General MK. Please join him in supporting our young people while they play. Your Excellency, the return of these home games to Nambole wouldn't have been really possible if you didn't have passion and love for your country. And if Mama didn't have passion and love for these young people with the talents. In a special way, I want to thank, on top of thanking His Excellency, I want to thank Cabinet for approving that payments, all those payments. I want to thank Parliament of Uganda. I want to thank the engineering brigade that has done a good job. Thank you, and one thank the Football Association, that is FUFA. Your Excellency, I also want to take this opportunity to ensure that this time round we create a niche. I want to take this opportunity to ask members that we create a niche in sports. We need to encourage our sports people. We need to encourage our children who are talented to ensure that they get what they get. As we conclude, Your Excellency, I know Mama as a prayerful person. Mama, as our children go to play tomorrow, kindly pray for them. Thank you.
Item number 5, invitation by the Right Honourable Speaker to His Excellency the President to deliver the Parliament an address on the state of the nation in accordance with Article 1011 of the Constitution.
Your Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, it is your mandate under Article 101 of the Constitution that at the beginning of each session of Parliament to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of nation. Honorable members, as we welcome the President to deliver his address on the state of nation, I draw to your attention and urge you to abide by Rule 10 of the Rules of Procedure, which provides in Sub-Rule 3 that while the President in making a statement in Parliament, he shall be heard in silence, and his statement shall not be followed by any comment or question. Pursuant to Rule 10.4a of the Rules of Procedure, I now take this singular honor and privilege to invite you, Your Excellency, to address this august House and by extension, the nation. You're most welcome, Mr. President.
Vice President, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, His Lordship the Chief Justice, Right Honourable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, His Lordship Deputy Chief Justice, Right Honourable Prime Minister, all the other leaders, ministers, members of Parliament, cultural and religious leaders, members of the diplomatic corps, the wananchi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In fulfillment of the constitutional requirement under Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, I am here to deliver the State of the Nation Address 2024. On this occasion of the State of the Nation Address, I would like to remind the Ugandans of the 3 historical missions, the 4 principles of the NRM, and therefore determine what distance has been covered in prosecuting those goals and what remains to be done and what is the main obstacle on that transformational road. Our movement came on the scene initially as a student movement, getting elements from the old political parties of UPC, DP, and Kaweka Yeka that had sectarian platforms, misusing the politics of identity, religious, tribal, and gender chauvinism. After careful analysis, we established that Africa needed us to pursue 3 historical missions. If Africa was to survive and thrive, that's how we looked at it. We looked at it as a matter of survival. If Africa is to survive, we thought it had to do the following. The 3 historical missions are prosperity for the African people, including the people of Uganda. Are the people of Africa entitled to prosperity or not? Secondly, strategic security for the African people. Do the African people need to be secure from all threats, from wherever? And taking advantage of the brotherhood of the African people to achieve the first 2 missions. These Africans you are talking about, do you know that they are either similar people or they are linked? How was the prosperity of the African people to be achieved? Could it be achieved through begging for foreign aid, as some were emphasizing? Could foreign aid give us the prosperity we are talking about? The answer, according to us, was no. Our conclusion was that prosperity could only come from each adult person engaging in producing a good or a service sustainably and selling it. That's where prosperity comes from. Each adult person must produce a good or a service and sell it. If he or she does so with a chibaro is our local language meaning maximizing profit, making sure that what you are doing will give you what you want, he or she will be prosperous. Since individuals cannot effectively work alone, the different zones of the country are always encouraged to specialize in given clusters of products or services. It is this realization that led us to distill our first NRM principle, patriotism, love Uganda. Why love Uganda? It is because you need it for your prosperity in the form of the market. Whether you like other Ugandans or you don't like them, but you need them for your prosperity, because they need to buy what you produce so that you are able to be prosperous. When you produce a good or a service, the next question is, who will buy the good or service and in sufficient quantities to guarantee the prosperity of the wealth creator? One of the factors we realized was that normally people of the same tribe or the same locality produce similar products. Hence, they do not easily buy from one another. It is the people from other parts of the country that produce different products that buy the wealth creators' products. Therefore, the opportunists that promote sectarianism and parochialism are enemies of wealth creators, starting with their relatives. They are pseudo-prophets. Banabi Abib Shuba. Banabi Abu Bulimba. The Historical Mission of Prosperity pushed us to discover the second NRM ideological principle, that of Pan-Africanism. Love East Africa. Love Africa. Those who are the guests who are not from here, from East Africa, they had us playing two anthems, the anthems you had. One anthem is for Uganda, the other one is for East Africa. We insist on that in order for us to get out of poverty, we need Uganda, we need East Africa, we need Africa. Because if they buy what we produce, we are going to be prosperous. And if we also buy what they produce. Why? It is because you need them. You need East Africa, you need Africa for your prosperity, other issues aside. When wealth creators get serious with production, when they increase the production of goods and services, the internal market is no longer enough. When you see people talking of tribes and religions, it is because they are not serious. Because if you are a serious wealth creator, there is no way you can talk of a tribe or religion. Because you need the pockets of so many people to support your prosperity. When wealth creators get serious with production, when they increase the production of goods and services, the internal market is no longer enough. We need the East African market, we need the African market, and we need the global market. Since the recovery of the economy of Uganda, we have seen this. It's not a theory. We have seen it. We saw it before. It was implemented, but we have now seen it in reality. Our production of sugar is now 600,000 metric tons. However, the internal market is only 380,000 metric tons. who is to buy the surplus sugar of 220,000 metric tons? The milk production is now 5.3 billion liters. Who is to buy the extra 4.5 billion liters, since the internal demand is only 800 million liters? The cement production is now 6.4 million metric tons, and yet the internal demand is only 2.4 million tons. Who is buying the surplus? How about the steel products? The internal demand is 1.5 million metric tons, yet the annual production of steel products in Mitayimbwa, although still at 610,000 metric tons, leaving a deficit of 890,000 metric tons. It will soon be about 3 million metric tons with the new vertically integrated steel industries using the high grade Obutare. Obutare is our indigenous word for iron ore of Muko in the Rwanda area. So soon our production will be 3 million metric tons of steel. And yet the internal demand is 1.5 million. Who will buy the surplus steel? The products of the new vertically integrated factories will completely wipe out the need for importing high-quality steel for hydropower dams, the railway, high-rise buildings, etc., that need very strong steel, different from the steel of the recycled steel products from scrap metal. Because up to now, we have been using scrap metal, the old tanks of Idi Amin, to make steel. But now we are going to use our iron ore, our Obutare, the best in the world. There is no other iron ore which is richer than this one, 70% pure. Even now, we also import steel ingots and add value. Some of this steel is re-exported to the region. The answer for all these questions is that it is mainly East and Central Africa that are buying the surplus. The commercial area is buying goods and services worth $2.157 billion from Uganda. Therefore, the NRM was right to distill the principles of patriotism and Pan-Africanism, and to oppose groups that were pushing for parochialism in Uganda and Eurocentrism globally. You know, when we were about to come into government, I went to Europe, and the Europeans asked me, because our old political parties here, the Democratic Party was allied to the Christian Democratic Party of Germany. They were actually being supported by the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. The UPC was being supported by the Social Democrats. They have got their group. They are the ones who helped them to build the Uganda House. To start building the Uganda House, then the government built it using government money. And when we came, some people wanted me to take back the building. I said, no, so these fellows expected us to side with European parties Social Democrats versus Christian Democrats. I said, sorry, I'm not part of that crowd. I am an Afro-centric person. I start with Africa. I don't start with Europe. I'm not a European. So we refused to join those groups. They had Christian International, Socialist International. We have never gone there. Never. And we told our people clearly that our focus is Africa. And here, I'm giving you facts now. I'm not talking about stories here. I'm talking of cement. The list is too long, I couldn't finish it. I didn't talk about maize, about bananas, about beef. You know what is happening. It is Africa that is supporting us, and we are also supporting them. Therefore, the NRM was right to distill the principles of patriotism and Pan-Africanism and to oppose groups that were pushing for parochialism in Uganda and Eurocentrism globally. After the careful analysis, we realized that our prosperity, first and foremost, needed patriotism, that is, love Uganda, and Pan-Africanism, love Africa. We access other markets in addition, but let us secure these two levels first. This is why we worked so hard to revive the East African community and to consolidate COMESA. I salute the Wazee, Daniel Arap Moi, the late Al-Hassan Mwinyi, the late, and Benjamin Mkapa, the late, for helping us in this effort. On the COMESA battle, I remember leaders like His Excellency Jean-Baptiste Bagaza of Burundi, Dr. Peter Mutharika of Malawi, Bax Nombete, he was our Secretary General, he was from South Africa, of COMESA, and others. The third principle of the NRM ideology is socio-economic transformation through education for all, Bona Basome, and wealth creation for all, Bona Bagagaware, by all the families joining the money economy and getting out of the pre-capitalist subsistence economy, okora echida kyonka. The fourth NRM ideological principle is democracy, real democracy for empowering the people to grow and not cheap popularity that the new colonial agents use to manipulate the people. The correct philosophy, the correct ideology, and correct strategy of the NRM, mark those three words, my friends. The world has got a lot of problems, Africa has got a lot of problems, because they make mistakes on philosophy, make mistake on ideology, make mistake on strategy. The correct philosophy, ideology, and strategy of the NRM have enabled the economy and society of Uganda to go through 5 phases since 1986. These phases are, number 1, the minimum economic recovery phase of restoring aspects of the small colonial enclave money economy of the 3 C's and 3 T's. Our small colonial economy was characterized by the economy of the 3 C's and the 3 T's. 3 C's was coffee, copper, and cotton. And the 3 T's were tobacco, tourism, and tea. It was a small economy. But when Amin came, he destroyed it. I didn't have time to explain that. So when we came in, we had to restore that small island. That's why we are calling it enclave. Because enclave means an island. An island of modernity surrounded by a sea of backwardness. That's the situation we had here in the 1960s. And that small island was comprised of the 3 T's and the 3 C's. But Idi Amin destroyed it. So when we came, we had to bring it back. This is the first phase we call the minimum economic recovery. 2, expanding that enclave with the more production of coffee, tea, etc. That small island was producing coffee of 2 million bags. We are now producing 9 million bags. That small island was producing tea of 23 million kilograms before Amin came in. By the time we came, tea production had declined to 3 million kilograms. We are now producing 60 million kilograms of tea. So, number 1, minimum recovery. Number 2, expansion of the small island economy. Number 3, the diversification of the enclave economy by commercializing the production of bananas, cassava, milk, fruits, palm oil, cocoa, fish, beef, etc. Because during the time of the British, they would say that coffee was the cash crop. Milk and maize and so on were not cash crops. They were just for home consumption. But we said no, all these are cash products. That's why, therefore, phase 3 has been diversification. Phase 4, adding value to some of these raw materials, such as cotton, fruits, milk, tea, timber, sugar, etc. The other day in my speech in Nairobi, I was able to castigate the African practice of exporting raw materials. This is very, 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 very dangerous for this continent. Here, I have banned the export of unprocessed minerals. If a mineral is not fully processed, I don't allow it to be exported. But even the other products, we are struggling to add value to all of them, even coffee. Now, number 5, phase 5, the knowledge economy through the production of vaccines, the production of automobiles, and so on. So we are now also entering the fifth phase where we use the science of our young people to produce products. These measures have enabled the economy to grow from US dollars 1.5 billion in 1986 to now US dollars 55 billion by the foreign exchange method and US dollars 180 billion by the PPP method, purchasing power parity method. With US dollars 1,182 per capita, Uganda now has entered the lower middle income status. We have just entered the ground floor of the middle income. Just the first floor, we are down there now. Mwebale kuyingira mu gorofa esooka. Tumwagala kwekebera mu ngalo bannange. Apoyo Rubanga. There are, however, still some trade barriers in the East African community. These are really roadblocks to our prosperity. All the East Africans should work to remove these bottlenecks by implementing fully the common market protocols, the customs union protocols, so that the fragmented markets of Africa become one market. With a more united African market, we can then be able to negotiate with other countries for market access to their markets, such as the European Union, United States of America, USA, China, Russia, the Gulf countries, India, etc. Internally, we have guided our people that the socio-economic transformation can be realized through Bonabasome, education for all, and Bonabagagawere, prosperity for all, by joining the four money-making sectors of commercial agriculture, manufacturing, services, and ICT. The government has provided grants or soft loans for wealth creators to use in joining these sectors in case they do not have their own capital. These funds are well known: Operation Wealth Creation, NADS, PMA, Entandukwa, Parish Development Model Money, Emyoga, the Youth Fund, the Women Fund, Grow Money, etc. Some of these have been merged to become fewer funds, but doing the same work. These funds are mainly for the low-income people. The actors that are more empowered should borrow from the Uganda Development Bank for agriculture, for manufacturing, and some of the services such as tourism. We don't give loans for importers of perfumes and dead people's clothes. You know, I was having a big discussion with them here. Those importers, I cannot give a loan to somebody, soft money, for somebody to import dead people's clothes. And import perfumes and whiskey and so on. No. The Uganda Development Bank money is for manufacturing, for agriculture, and for some of the services. If you want to import perfumes, go to the commercial banks. All we have said above is targeted to enable us to create prosperity for ourselves through wealth creation. The second historical mission is strategic security for Africa. African countries, or indeed other countries in the world, may be prosperous economically. Strategically speaking, however, they may still be vulnerable vis-à-vis other global actors. In the Second World War, the first victims of German aggression were the developed countries of Denmark, Holland, Belgium, etc. Even France was conquered by Germany. Therefore, there is something about size. Indeed, the smaller countries of Europe were rescued by the mighty Soviet Union that defeated Hitler's army at Moscow, Russia, Stalingrad, Kursk, etc. and were later on, in 1944, joined by the Americans and the British. As we speak today, only 4 countries have been able to land on the moon. These are the USA, China, India, and Russia. Why? Size and development matter. Uganda, even when it becomes a developed country, cannot have an overambitious space program. We are working on implementing a limited space program for overhead observation and communication, broadcasting and telephone communication. We shall have an overhead imaging satellite at an altitude of 600